Prepare to get gas because it's time for the year in gear 2025. Yes, welcome to my roundup of the past 12 months of gear, which have been, on one hand, outstanding. On the other hand, you decide. I'm going to list all the things that I think deserve to be talked about, and I've got several categories, which are going to be on your screen right there, and there will be chapters in the video, so if this video is too long for you, and you just want to watch, I don't know, the best budget pedal of 2025, well, there's your guide. And as if that wasn't enough, I'm going to round up all the categories into one super winner who shall win themselves a Golden Geek Award. Ooh. I feel like I should be wearing some sort of glittery shirt, but I've gone for this, whatever this is. It's an oldie, but a goodie. Before we start, I should point out that none of the brands or companies that I talk about in this video have paid to be in this video, nor have they asked to be in this video. And I dare say that most of them don't even know this video is happening. Another disclaimer, a lot of you probably won't agree with my picks, and that's fine. This is my video. Make your own if you disagree. Wow, aggressive Andy came out there. So, just to be clear, I don't receive any money or anything at all from any of the brands that I talk about in this video. However, this video is sponsored by RADIAL Engineering. More about them in a bit. Right, phone at the ready because there are lots of things to talk about today. Category number 1, the first award, is Most Hyped Product of the Year 2025. And the nominees are the Fender Acoustasonic Standard, the Gibson and Epiphone Back to the Future ES345, and the JHS Big Muff 2. Let's break this down. The Fender Acoustasonic Standard is the cheaper version of the Fender Acoustasonic Player version, which is the cheaper version of the Fender Acoustasonic. Now, many of you said when the original Acoustasonic was released, it was far too expensive, it was rubbish and all that. I'll agree that it might have been too expensive. It definitely wasn't rubbish, and I really love those guitars. However, we all wanted the Squier version, and we didn't get it. But in 2025, Fender built some guitars in Indonesia and slapped the Fender name on the headstock, and we have the Fender Acoustasonic Standard. That was super hyped, and all the way back at NAMM this year, which feels really weird to say because it feels like eons ago, I was stood in a room where they had these big screens and a big stage and big announcement, the Fender Acoustasonic Standard, and it was going to be the next big thing. And then Fender sort of was quiet about it after that, and I don't even know anyone that owns one. I haven't even played one, which is weird because I need to. So I'm going to get that done at some point before the year in gear next year. So the next product was the Gibson and Epiphone ES345 Back to the Future. Oh my goodness. This is, for me and for many guitar players around my age, the guitar. The one that I saw on the screen and thought, what is that? What is this thing this guy is doing? And what he's doing, I want to do that. And he was doing it with that guitar. I know it's a movie and it was, mimed and all that, but that's another subject. This 345 is so coveted. The Gibson one, super expensive, amazing. We'll forget about that because it is just for the 1%, less than 1% probably. The Epiphone version, 1,985 models made. Super huge campaign with DeLoreans and can we find the original, even though it's probably at Norm's Guitars somewhere. And yeah, they marketed the guitar as, well, being the ultimate Epiphone Back to the Future. And I ordered one, and if you've seen my show before, you'll know that I ordered one. That order got cancelled. Then I ordered another one. That order got cancelled. And then I managed to get saved by a company that I will talk about big time in the video that I make for my Epiphone Back to the Future ES345 very soon. I've left it as a Christmas present for myself because I didn't open it straight away. It's still in the box, and I've been building this studio, this new abode. So I figured that I would just wait till, well, Christmas, which is now in the past, I guess, depending on when you're watching this. I can't wait, but it was a super hype, and it paid off. Lots of angry people, lots of FOMO, lots of people buying them and selling them on Reverb. And the scalper conversation is a whole other thing, but this is going to make that too long a video. So that's the Back to the Future one. The JHS Big Muff 2, well, JHS are masters of creating fear of missing out and masters of marketing, and somehow they managed to sell pedals without trying to sell you their pedals. This is a great story. There's a book that goes with it. I've just realized that out of the 3 most hyped products, I've bought 2 of them because I bought the JHS Big Muff 2 as well. I had to. It's red and black and it's a Big Muff, the pedal that got me into, well, guitar pedals, I guess. Yeah, the Big Muff Pi was my favorite pedal when I plugged into it. That's when I came home. Had I had the Back to the Future guitar back then, I'd have probably completed my gear journey all the way in 1990 something. Glad I didn't, because we wouldn't be here. Right, okay, so we've got those 3, and I've decided that the winner for the most hyped product based on nothing at all is the Fender Acoustasonic Standard, because I just don't see it anymore. As if it was like thrown in my face and then it disappeared, making it almost pure hype. This was close. The Gibson one, very, very, very close second. Let's do the next category. Up now is the best signature guitar of 2025. And there have been so many. Signature products are the new normal. There are more signature products in the week in gear than non-signature products, I think. And I own there's a signature product right there. The Ibanez Fireman from Paul Gilbert. I love it. It is a signature product. It just speaks to me. I have a lot of signature guitars. They speak to me. And the nominees are the PRS Clio Herman Lee Signature, the Reverend Reeves Gabrels RG Sus Mark II, the Gibson Noel Gallagher Les Paul Standard, the Fender Stratocaster Tom Morello with I'm the Homeless written all over it, the Epiphone Jeff Beck Oxblood 1954 Les Paul, the Jackson Pro Series Lee Malia LM87, and the Ibanez Bernd Signature, or the BER10. Alrighty, so the PRS Clio is the one with the meme about it being somewhere to insert something other than a jack cable. It was something like 7,000 or 8,000 euros and absolutely nuts. And the one that exploded, the prototype on stage. They very quickly made an SE version as well. It's strangely appealing to me, even though Herman Lee and I could not be further in style, I think, in guitar terms. I just think it's a pretty guitar. I think there's some great appointments on it. It's not a guitar for the masses. The SE version, like with most PRSs, generally is. The second, Reverend Reeves Gabrels, the Sus Mark II. It's just a great guitar. It seems like an all-rounder. It's, for me, pretty. It's got bits in all the right places. It seems balanced aesthetically. I know it's a Reverend, so therefore it's got to be high quality in terms of playing, because I dig Reverend guitars. You can't really go wrong with them. And I don't really know much about Reeves Gabrels, if I'm honest. However, I could see me playing his signature all day long. The Gibson Noel Gallagher Les Paul Standard is a guitar that I did not gel with when I saw it and I saw the specs. It just looked like a black Les Paul, and it didn't seem very Oasis. However, a lot of people disagreed with me in the comments of that episode of The Week in Gear, and opinions can differ. It doesn't speak to me. However, like with most guitars, the more I see it, the more I like it. And now, I actually think it's pretty cool. It's just not very Noel. I think they should have reissued the Union Jack one for Epiphone, but Oasis didn't really lean into that at all this tour. Hopefully they do it sometime in the future. Or hopefully they don't, because I have one of the originals. A very controversial guitar, the I'm the Homeless Tom Morello Fender Strat, which has a Strat body and a bunch of stuff on it, and then a banana headstock with the hockey stick headstock, which is predominantly Gibson. I think it's a bold move for Fender to put a non-Fender headstock on a Fender guitar and then not even have Fender written on that headstock. It makes it pretty authentic. However, it's closer to 2,000 notes than it is 1,000 notes. And that doesn't seem that authentic to me, although what else? It has to be priced to the point that it makes money. There is something I missed out in the Week in Gear when I talked about it, a donation going from parts of the proceeds to some charities, which is great. For me, I both want it and I hate it. And that's the summary of that guitar. The Epiphone Jeff Beck Oxblood 1954 Les Paul is almost everything I love about Les Pauls that I love. It's gorgeous, it's classic, it's got a big old fat neck, and I could quite easily see myself playing it. I've seen them on sale now for like 900 notes, which, if you forget the Jeff Beckness, it's just a solid Les Paul. A bit like me with my Fireman, forget Paul Gilbert if you can, it's a solid guitar. Then the Jackson Pro Series Lee Malia LM87. Wow, when that hit, the comments in the Week in Gear went absolutely nuts. What is that guitar? It's on the screen. I want it, I need it. People who've never heard of Lee Malia desire that guitar. And people who do know Lee Malia also have that guitar. And that's the beauty of a signature model that speaks to more than just the fan base. It's kind of the opposite of the Clio from PRS. It's affordable, it's the PRS is quirky. It's quirky, it seems like a workhorse. I haven't played one, but I wanted one instantly, and so did a lot of you. So that's in the list for sure. And then finally, the Ibanez Berendt Signature, the BER10. It is great seeing a fellow YouTuber and fellow Austrian getting such a success. I think I was talking to my friends at Ibanez. It was the fastest selling something. So either the fastest selling signature or the fastest selling guitar or something like that. It just sold out. And that's great news. I very gingerly put myself in the same camp as Berendt as guitar player and Austrian, because I live in Austria, I'm not yet Austrian, and as for his guitar playing, he's an absolute master. But his guitar is very, very playable. I've had a go, I've had a jam, and I think it definitely appeals to a lot of people. It's a workhorse and it's pretty. However, let's go to the winner. The winner of the Best Signature Guitar 2025 is, of course, the Jackson Lee Malia LM87. It was the one that caused the most joy in the comments section. And it's also the one that I love the most as well. So that's why I've chosen it. Now, the next category is possibly the most important to many of the guitar players watching this. It is, of course, the best looking guitar of 2025. There are some very pretty guitars out there, and many of us choose guitars with our eyes alone. And because of that, I had to go out of my way to choose guitars that have gone out of their way to be extra beautiful. So the nominees are the Gretsch G6134TG Limited Edition Paisley Penguin, the Fender Mike Campbell Red Dog Telecaster, the Fender Ariel Posen Signature, the D'Angelico Grateful Dead Signature models. Now, the Gretsch. There's something about the Paisley Penguin and the Falcon and these big boxes and these Gretsch extra adornments that speak to me and just say classy. This guitar makes me want to dress better just to pick it up, just to be in the same room as it. And to be on stage with that, I'd love to be in a suit, but to contrast it. But tuxedo and that, instant class. Fender Mike Campbell, the Red Dog. This has everything I love that I would possibly choose for my custom Telecaster. Not necessarily a signature, but if I was to build a telly and go wild with it, I'd probably get one that looked a lot like this, albeit with a thick old neck. It's the same neck that's on my telly. So yeah, it speaks to me so much. And a lot of you as well. It was in the comments pretty nuts how beautiful it is. I think some people had a problem with the price, but I think it was $3,000, something like this. The Fender Ariel Posen Signature. Speaking of Fenders that are expensive, wow, is this expensive? But if you're going to take a Strat somewhere else, well, that's where you take it. And it's not just a beautiful guitar. It's kind of functional for a Strat as well. It does Stratty stuff, but it works as a Stratocaster. However, it's again more classy than a regular Strat, I feel. As a Strat, it sort of feels like run of the mill now. We see them around for less than $100. This one, you're not going to see that cheap, and this one isn't cheap. And then the D'Angelico Grateful Dead signature guitars. I don't know much about the Grateful Dead. I don't know much about their music. I only know that when John Mayer plays with them, they sell more tickets. And I do know that these D'Angelico guitars are bang, in your face. They're very much like the David Bowie model. And as a person that likes to be on stage and be seen, I would play that almost regardless of what it sounds like, which is for me what defines a beautiful guitar. It looks great. I don't care what it sounds and plays like. That's beauty. And the winner of the most beautiful guitar in 2025 is, well, it's the D'Angelico Grateful Dead Signature Series. I think it's absolutely amazing. I think it is so wild that it deserves to be out there. but the Paisley Penguin comes a close second. Right, let's get a bit more affordable now and talk about the best budget guitar pedal this year. The nominees are the TC Electronic Ditto 2 Looper, the whole Behringer MFing collection, and by MFing I mean Mogafoga, the Electro Harmonix Pico Swello, the Nobles Mod Mini, the T-Rex Fuzztopia, the Electro Harmonix Pico Atomic Cluster, the DoD or Dodd Badder Monkey, the funny little boxes caught by the fuzz, and the Stumac pre-built pedal lineup. Now there's a lot in this category, and to get all categories down to even just this shortlist was an amazingly hard job. So there's more in there than I'd like. But first, the TC Electronic Ditto, TC Electronic, pour a little bit out, Ditto 2 Looper does everything the original Ditto does, but it adds quantization or smart looping or something. So if you don't quite hit the button to get your loop to begin again, it fixes it for you. And that could be seen as something lazy and not learning, but that will make a lot of beginners more happy when getting into looping. And it's also the price point as well. Doing that, if it had two, I wouldn't mind paying a bit more money for it, having 2 buttons for an extra stop, because I like that. But yeah, if you're going to want to sit down with a jam and get playing guitar as quickly as possible over some sort of loop, I think the Ditto 2 has to be the one you get. The whole Behringer MF collection. So this year, Behringer released not only a huge range of Mogafoga clones, they also released a bunch of other inspired pedals, including the Klon Centaur, the Centaura, which got Behringer in a bunch of trouble, but then they got out of that trouble pretty easily by renaming the pedal, I think twice. I bought a bunch of Behringer pedals this year just because I am addicted to gear, and these seem like a great deal, and some of them are, but some of the Mogafogas I haven't even plugged in yet. I just like looking at them. That's ridiculous. But what they've done is Behringer at their best. At its best, they've taken a defunct, dead product that you can't buy anymore new, and they've released it for a reasonable price that most people can afford. And I think that's what Behringer should be doing, and they can't really be hated for that. There's some questionable stuff about what they do with existing companies' pedals and pedals that you can buy, like the Centaur. Kind of, the KTR. Anyway, Behringer, well done for this MF series. I think you rock for that. The Pico Swello from EHX. It's just a great, fun, instantly makes you creative pedal that does swells without having to have a huge expression pedal, and it's affordable. What more could you want? The Nobles Mod Mini I have right here. Firstly, it's bright orange. That's why I liked it. Originally, it grabbed my eye, and I'm very much addicted again to the Boss DS1, and I think it might be because it's orange. It's not, but it's a lot to do with it. It's here, and as you can see, it's a micro pedal in my macro hands. And it's not just a micro pedal. That softy switch, also medium soft switch, also does other stuff when you hold it down, so you can get tap tempo and things. It's stereo if you want to be stereo. It's 9 volt, as most pedals are, but it just does a great job of being a meat and potatoes mod pedal. All right, pop that back there. Next up is the Electro Harmonix Pico Atomic Cluster. If you want a pedal that does chase, blissy, bleepy, broopy, and stuff that's weird, but for cheap, this is the pedal to get. If you can't quite stretch, or you don't need creatively to go so far as spending 500 notes on something, this will add some weirdness to your rig for a fairly reasonable price. The T-Rex Fuzztopia, I just thought would be a lot more expensive than it was, and it sounds like a thick old meaty fuzz, but there's a distortion sort of stuff in there as well. I expected it to be more expensive, and I enjoyed the tone. I haven't played one yet, which is saddening. The funny little boxes caught by the fuzz. I've got that here as well. This is a fuzz pedal again. And for this one, it's the only company on this list that is a small company, British company, and this pedal is based on the Supergrass caught by the fuzz tone, but you can do a lot more than just that. And I've used it in several videos, and I absolutely love it. It also has 2 flashing LEDs. I'm going to plug it in for you, but you can see the 2 flashing LEDs correspond with the police car lights, and I dig that so much. That's great design. So that is a great sounding fuzz, and it's fun. What more could you want from a very affordable pedal, because that's about 100 notes. unbelievable. And the StewMac pre-built pedal lineup, I enjoyed building those pedals, and then when they released them pre-built, they're only about 120 bucks. And I thought that they were, firstly, they're great, they sound great, they're built well, rather than some of the ones I've tried to build at some point, although I have been successful. It just seems a bit weird for StewMac to be building pedals. As a guitar player that likes pedals, if you want those tones for about 100 bucks, you can't really go wrong. They're just not that sexy. And I'm saddened by some of the comments on those videos where people, oh, why is StewMac building pedals? You can just get a this or that. That goes for every product. So yes, I enjoy the pre-built pedals. There's a great king of tone in there. It's not the best, but for that money, it's pretty darn good. However, the winner of this category is the TC Electronic Ditto 2 Looper. You absolutely cannot go wrong. If you've got 100 bucks to spend and you want to get a pedal that helps you out, just get that one. It won't change your tone in any way, but it will help you become a better guitar player through practice and help you have more fun. Staying with budget, let's go for the best budget amp of the year 2025. And the nominees are the Moore F15i Li, the Blackstar IDX series, so that's the 50 and the 100, the Hotone Pulse Mini, the Harley Benton DNF, the Harley Benton DNA FX Amp 20, the Vox Micro Super Beetle, and the Electro-Harmonix Abrams 100. Now, the Moore F15i Li is one of those battery-powered tabletop amps, hence the Li, which stands for lithium. Multi-effects pedals in an amp enclosure, gets you loads of tones, doesn't do the job of a very expensive multi-effects, but it does the job that most people need it to do. It's a great little practice amp, and I think you can also use it as an audio interface. And for the money, fantastic. The Blackstar IDX50 and the IDX 100, the big release for Blackstar this year, the Katana Killer. Line 6 tried to do it with the Catalyst and they did not succeed. I thought the Catalyst was actually pretty good for most things. The Blackstar is the first Katana Killer that comes up close, and I really enjoyed the sounds. I really enjoyed the way that you can interact with the amp and control the amp on the amp itself and not necessarily need an app, because we've come further than that now, boss. We do need more control if you're going to put so many controls on your amps. I still love the Katana very, very much, but this one, I've got a shootout coming soon in this studio over there on that set, which you haven't seen yet. I can't wait to do it. I'm very excited, and it's one of those videos where I think I'm going to make a choice instantly, but that definitely deserves to be on this list. The Hotone Pulse Mini, I have that here. It's just there. There. This is a tiny, I think 2 watt or maybe 5 watt. I don't know. It's a tiny amp that sits on your desk again. You plug into it and it's powered by a battery inside. It's also rechargeable by USB-C. It's got a screen on it. It is the first product like this that I've plugged into and played through all the presets, and there wasn't one stinker. All the presets were useful and good. It is still a small amp with a small speaker in it. There's a considerable amount of bass in it. However, a lot of products like this tend to fill their first bank of patches with ring modulators and look at how snazzy we can do stuff. That's not what this does. What this does is says, look how good I can be at just doing something simple. And for the money, that is a cracking little practice tool and recording device, I believe. Next up is the Harley Benton DNA FX Amp 20. Harley Benton always give good value for money. This one, I don't think it sounds the best, but there is a great way to discover a lot of different tones in there. It's like a much cheaper Katana with a much cheaper sound. The Vox Micro Super Beetle is just cool. It's a little bit overpriced for what you get compared to things like the Blackstar on this list, but if it's anything like the previous model that I reviewed, I loved the sound. It just sounded great. And as a solid state amp, it just tries to do very little, but do it well. And it looks amazing. So it makes me smile when I look at it. So that would make me want to play it. And I think that goes for a lot of people. And then finally, the Electro-Harmonix Abrams 100 is a small amp that you can plug your pedals into and get a decent sound pretty simply. If you are trying to get a small pedal rig and you don't want to put an amp on your pedal board or take a katana and just use the clean channel, then this definitely should be looked at. However, the winner is the IDX50 and the IDX100 from Blackstar. It's the closest we've got to knocking Boss off its throne, and if someone can knock Boss off their throne, then Boss have to do better, which means that's good for us guitar players because we get better stuff and they can't increase the price very much. So I love healthy competition between brands. That is why I do these things. Yeah, Blackstar IDX50. Can't wait to do my next shootout video. Congratulations, Blackstar.
This is the RADIAL reamp station that I use in a bunch of my past and upcoming videos.
Now, what I like to do with this tiny little box is record a clean DI signal into my DAW and then send it back out of the computer through this and then through my amp or through a different amp or through somebody else's amp or through a pedal or a bunch of pedals.
For me, this means I can A/B rigs very, very simply and have the same signal going through everything.
Or it means I can send exactly the same performance through various different amps. So when I bring you a shootout, each amp gets exactly the same signal.
This bad boy is made in Canada. It's extremely high quality and it will not let you down.
So a big thank you to Radial Engineering for making that and for sponsoring the Week in Gear many times this year and hopefully more times the next year. Let's get on with the show. Okay, this might be the most exciting category in the whole list because this is where most guitar players spend their money and therefore where most guitar companies make their money. This is Guitar of the Year under about 600 notes. The nominees are the Harley Benton ST Modern HH, the Ibanez AZ Standard, the Vintage V50 Coaster Series, the EVH Wolfgang WG Standard TOM, the Squier Classic Vibe Series, the Gretsch Electromatic CVT Series, the Heartwood Drifter, and the Fender Standard Series. That's a lot of guitars, and believe me, getting the list to this short was really difficult. First up, the Harley Benton ST Modern HH. Harley Benton generally give great value for money. The quality control can be a bit hit and miss, but it's got better. I've really enjoyed this ST Modern style of guitar, and the HH is going to appeal to a lot of people. For the money, it's one of the choices you should be making if that's the spec you want. The Ibanez AZ Standard is so good that I still call it the AZ, even though I should say the AZ. I played them back in December of last year and made videos with Paul from Studio Rets. Hello, Paul. And I had a blast. And they were so good that when we put them together with the regular AZs, it was so hard to tell a difference until you looked at the trem system. You could see that on the AZ Standard that this was a slightly more affordable trem system. Playing style, playing-wise, comfort, sound, the AZ Standard is just way out there. Absolutely. And I know it's not the cheapest on this list, but it deserves to be on this list. EVH Wolfgang WG Standard TOM, I fell in love with the next model up from this when I was in Guitar in Camden, London, and this has got to be very close to it. This one speaks to me more from the setup because I don't need the wibbly wobbly bridge. EVH guitars, I can tell where they're built, I can tell which factory is building them, and I can tell you that that factory does amazing guitars, so this one is going to be no different to the one I've already played. There's some great colors, and I think, again, it's a nice alternative for someone who doesn't want to pick up a Fender or a Gibson or any of the other big names. The Squier Classic Vibe series, particularly that blue telly, the Classic Vibe is now itself a classic, and it is kind of the king of budget guitars or budget versions of Fender guitars. It is Squier at its best, and there are cheaper alternatives now. It used to be one of the cheapest ways to get a good Strat, for example, or a good telly. There are cheaper ways now with things like Vintage, Phenomenal or Harley Benton, and now Squier have just gone super cool with their designs and their quirkiness, and that's what I love about the Vibe series. You don't just get a good Strat anymore, you get a weird coloured Jaguar, a weird coloured Jazzmaster, or a beautiful coloured telly that's going to please a lot of people. I know it's classic vibe, so not classic specs, so it's the vibe of the vintage stuff, but I wish they had thicker necks, because then I would buy all of them. Or then I'd buy at least the neck and put it on another guitar. Yeah, I wish. Someday maybe. Classic vibe. Fat classic vibe. Classic vibe fat, because Fender get their names longer and longer. The Gretsch Electromatic CVT series is just a phenomenal series of guitars. Again, Gretsch building high-end guitars and building more budget versions. This Electromatic series has been great since they brought it out. If you want something that looks like a Gretsch and kind of feels a bit like a Gretsch, sounds a little bit like a full-fat Gretsch, this is the one to go for. Again, if I like things that are slightly left of the middle, not just a straight Strat Les Paul RG whatever copy. Yeah, the Gretsch is notably on this list. The Heartwood Drifter, the new-ish house brand from Gear 4 Music, who are rocking up the levels of guitars they offer. It's unbelievable how much they offer. I have a G4M just out of the shot just there. I'm looking around. I have a Heartwood there, Heartwood Charger. The Heartwood Drifter was new this year, and again, a bit like the Vintage V50, which you won't be able to get much longer, this is a very well-built guitar that I still don't believe is at its best. I still think they can improve a little. I feel they can take it a little bit further, but it's a great value for money, alternative-looking instrument. Finally, the Fender Standard series. I reviewed one way back somewhere at the beginning of this year, and I kind of loved it. And a lot of people just wanted to hate it because Fender have built guitars in Indonesia and the Fender on the headstock, and that's not a Fender. That's a whole different subject compared to, is this guitar a good guitar? And the one I played was phenomenal. However, I then bought another one after that. Story was not the same. So Fender have been quite quiet about this series. I think the most notable thing about the series is that, as opposed to a Squier, which people said, just go to Squier Classic Vibe, the Fender, you can put Fender parts on it and they will fit, they'll just drop in. The Squier, it's not the same measurements, it's imperial versus metric. Indonesian Fender, you can just upgrade the parts, maybe the tuners, for example, with standard Fender parts or parts made for Fenders without any jiggery pokery or filling holes and re-screwing them, which I've had to do in the past with Classic Vibes. You shouldn't have to mod a guitar straight away, but if you want to, you can. That's up to you. And the winner is, I don't even need to look at the list. It's the Ibanez AZ Standard. This is one of the best things to happen to guitar in a long, long time. And I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to happen to Ibanez, because I would now say you do not need to get the next model up, which is the Premium. I wish I knew. Anyway, the one that's about 1,000-ish or 1,200, you just get the AZ Standard or get the top of the range. The AZ Standard has, for me, killed the one in the middle. It sounds great. It's so playable. If you like the shapes and you like the colors, you should get this guitar. You need a reliable guitar, a second guitar, for example, if you're on stage and you want something that isn't going to fall over and smash and break, and you don't necessarily like Ibanez guitars, but you want something that's good and a good instrument, this is the one to get. I was once told that if you're going to have one guitar on stage, it should be an Ibanez RG, and now I believe the AZ is the answer to that. And you can again mod this to your desired different tones. But stock, phenomenal. If you're on the fence, just go and get one. Congratulations, Ibanez. Okay, so we've covered budget. I think the most interesting area of guitars financially is the mid-range, what have I called it? The best mid-range guitar, or the working semi-pro category, the weekend warriors, the people who actually play on stage and in bands for fun or for money and do covers or whatever, and do it regularly and need stuff that is super reliable and don't want to mod budget guitars. That's a long category name. The nominees are the Epiphone inspired by Gibson Custom Series, the 60s spec, the Cort KX507 MS Pale Moon Multiscale, the Ibanez RG565R DY, the Ibanez IC420 FM Cherry Sunburst, the PRS SENF53, the Fender Vintera 2 Road Worn Series, and the EVH Wolfgang Special Tunematic. Right, first up, the Epiphone inspired by Gibson Custom Series. This is not your, I'm going to buy an Epiphone because I haven't got much money, guitar range. This is Epiphone putting Gibson parts and pickups in Epiphone guitars and then slapping a hefty price tag on it. They have to be in this category because I do think there are people out there who own Gibsons and play professionally with Gibsons, but maybe don't want to take a Gibson to every show. So if you need a guitar that looks a lot like a Gibson and sounds a lot like a Gibson, the Epiphone in most cases. And there's something for almost everybody in this series, except me, because I don't like the 60s necks. The Cort KX 507 MS, it's multi-scale. It's obvious that if anyone is playing down-tuned music for this, the Cort stuff is phenomenal. Cort from Cortec, they build a lot of the other guitars that are going to be on this list. They build the PRSs. They build, I think, the Ibanez's as well. That was just an excuse to say Ibanez's. They build phenomenal guitars. They now have their own range. They've had them for a while, but now they're actually pushing them out to the public. And they are going to be great for the money because they don't have to put somebody else's name on the headstock. So you're going to get better value. If you don't like multi-scale guitars, move along. Somebody does. The Ibanez RG565RDY. They've reissued the 565. An RG is apparently the guitar that you need to have on stage, according to someone who was doing thousands of gigs a year, literally thousands, more than 2 per day. The DY is my favorite color. It does come in other colors, and I think my second choice would be the blue. I strangely do like the necks on these. I like the sounds. It's very not me. You wouldn't look at me. You don't see RG player, do you? No. But I do enjoy an RG very much, and for me, this is one of the quintessential models. The Ibanez IC420 FM Cherry Sunburst. The Iceman, let's get this covered. The Iceman is one of my favorite guitar models of all time. I would take this over a Les Paul any day. I'm upset that Ibanez don't do more expensive versions of the Iceman, meaning that I don't want to pay more money for it. I just want them to spend more time and do more finishes, or more high quality finishes. Which brings me to this guitar, the Cherry, what do they call it? Cherry Sunburst. I almost bought one. I got one sent out, and the finish was a bit milky. It was almost my ultimate Iceman, and the finish wasn't as striking as I wanted it to be. And the reason I'm saying that is because I already own an IC420 FM, and it's around somewhere. I play it very, very regularly. There's my Fireman as well, the upside down version of the Iceman. It fits a big guy like me. I love it. It sounds good. It plays well. It's good quality. The finish on this is okay. I would have taken it had I not already had an Iceman. The PRS SE NF53. I laughed at the original because I thought it was really, really ugly, and someone drew a Telecaster from memory. This SE version has grown on me. And as always, SEs, they're great value for money. Absolutely. I haven't got much to say about this because I still don't like the look of it, but it does appeal to me in a quirky way rather than it's a telly kind of way. I will play one at some point. Haven't played one. The EVH Wolfgang Special TOM is like the more budget version, the standard, but this one is more special. So it's probably just I say probably because I haven't played either of them, probably just had some more time spent on it, a few better specs, better pickups probably, and better. And yeah, it's the more working player's machine. Although I think the standard will probably do you just as well. It's prettier. The Vintera 2 Road Worn series from Fender. Wow. The Vintera 2 series from Fender is phenomenal. And I think this is the sweet spot for most players if you're going to get a Fender. It does most of what every Fender model should do at a price that most people should be able to stretch to if you are earning money from music. If it's just a hobby, maybe you stay with Squier. If you can go for a Fender, this is the one you should probably be looking at. And the Road Worn series adds an extra level of ooh to it. It's not relicked, it's road worn, so it's a nitro finish with a little bit of scratchiness. I'm just wondering if it's here. It isn't here, it's still in my other studio. The room that now is not a studio anymore. It's the sweet spot. And that is why it is the winner of this category. If you're after a Fender, this is the one to get. Sadly, this series I think is limited edition, so you might not be able to. If you can't get it, or someone's scalping on reverb, then I would absolutely go for either the... well, you choose. I'm going for the Fender. All right, onto a highly coveted award, Accessory of the Year. Woo! In this category is stuff that you need or might benefit you, but you don't necessarily want to spend any money on it. Accessory of the Year. The nominees are the Harley Benton Power Plant lithium battery version thing, the Harley Benton Tube Head Switch, the Blackstar Beam Solo, the Vander Guitars Guitar-O-Matic, and the Positive Grid Spark Neo Core Wired Smart Guitar Headphones. First off is the Harley Benton Power Plant ISO battery-powered power supply for your pedals. The ISO stuff, or the Power Plant stuff from Harley Benton, is generally workhorse stuff, and the lithium battery, or whatever battery is inside it, makes it that you don't actually have to have 1,000 cables running across the stage. And how many times have I turned up to a gig and there's not been a power socket at the front of the stage for my pedal board, meaning you have to run an extension cable across the stage, and that's Trip City. So this could get you out of those sticky situations, or those trippy situations. Up next is Harley Benton again with their Tube Head Amp Switch, the Tube Head Switch. If you've got 2 amps going in, and you've only got 1 cab, or you've got 2 amps that you want to A/B against each other, or you just gig with a clean and a dirty amp if you've got lots of money, and you don't want to spend money on a switcher that is expensive, Harley Benton have got you with this. It's affordable. It is absolutely, what's the word? Workhorse again. I feel sorry for things that are workhorses. They don't seem to be that sexy, but it works. I haven't tried it. I've read some of the reviews. I've watched some YouTube reviews. They're good. It's Harley Benton, so the returns policy is going to be great if it doesn't work. Yeah, great accessory. The Blackstar Beam Solo is one of those headphone pluggy in all the amps you could ever want in your headphones thing, albeit with lots of cables. I think these things are great. There's a bunch of them out there, like the Fender Micro, the Boss Katana Go, and this one. I'm really digging what Blackstar's doing at the moment. They seem to be on fire in terms of releasing decent to excellent products. I'm sure this is the same. I'll do some sort of shootout at some point. I love these things that enable me to take a guitar anywhere and still not have to play electric unplugged, because I find that very uninspiring. Even if it's just clean with a bit of reverb, I dig that more. The Vander Guitars Guitar-O-Matic is an effects system that you have in your guitar. It's been done before, but not with such finesse and at such a price point. So you do have to mod the guitar, but then you can plug in little circuits which act as pedals, and I think it's brilliant. The price is right, the method seems easy, the company is rather small, and I think we should support small companies doing cool things. They have sent one out to me. I will be reviewing it very soon, and I'm more excited about these kind of things than I am other more green little boxes sometimes, because it's a toy that you get to play with, and then you add more fun to one of your guitars. That's why I like these things. The Positive Grid Spark Neo Core Wired Smart Guitar Headphones. It's a mouthful. This is the wired version of the Neo headphones that I love. One of my most used practice devices ever. It's great to just plug in the wireless thing, put on the headphones, but sometimes there's no battery, which is frustrating, and you can plug it in with a cable. Or if the wireless thing doesn't appeal to you, you just get the wired version and you save a bunch of money. It does all the rest of the stuff that the others do, just it's cheaper, and you need a cable. Drinky time. The winner of this category is, without a doubt, the Vander Guitars Guitar-O-Matic. It's something new to the guitar world. It's a new company. I believe we should support these people who are trying to do cool things for us. And even though some of the other things are possibly more useful, this is the most fun, and that's why I've chosen it. On to the award that we might not need, but I think it's worth talking about. It's the Did We Really Need This Award of the Year, and it's also called the Pointless Award. The nominees are Earthward Bell Bronze Strings from John Mayer and Ernie Ball, the JHS Not a Dumble, the Mesa Boogie 2C++, the JHS 424 Gain Stage, and the EVH 5153 Hypersonic 6L6 Combo. Signature strings. John Mayer, if you stick his name on something, you're going to sell more, so why not? Signature strings, I think for me, it's taking it a little bit too far. However, if you've got everything if you've got the guitar, the amp, the pedals, and you want to go the extra step and figure out why you still don't sound like John Mayer in this case, and I know it's acoustic strings, then get the strings, and you're one step closer to realizing that you just have to have John Mayer's fingers. The JHS Not a Dumble is on this list because not a lot of people have played a Dumble. I have, in general, a problem with Dumble clones and Dumble style sounds in the guitar gear industry because no one, or very few people, really know what they sound like. And JHS are some of the masters of marketing. I think it's on there because of that. It seems more marketing than anything. However, it's not a fail because it is fun, because you get to build it. It's almost not on this list, but I had to include it because I wanted to talk about it. The Mesa Boogie 2C++ just seems like a cash-in from Gibson. And I don't think the guitar world would be much different without it. And that is the essence of this category. Next one is JHS again with the 424 gain stage, which is a fuzzy sort of gain based on the preamp of a Tascam 424, which I own. And I was always told never to go into the reds, and then often did because it was fun, especially on drums. I didn't know what I was doing way back when these things were new. What's his name? MacGyver has made a career out of using the Tascam as an effect, so I think it's cool. But then I saw a lot of people saying that this was like the greatest drive ever, or a really usable drive, including John Mayer. And I again just thought, there's one that's a DIY pedal that is cheaper that I think does the job. I don't really want to knock this pedal because I do love the sounds. It just seems again like part of a marketing machine, more than it was useful for guitarists. But who am I to decide? Finally, the EVH, I need this, EVH 5153 Hypersonic 6L6 combo. Have you ever wanted to pay more for something that isn't actually what you think it is? Of course you haven't. This EVH 5150 is basically a Tone Master, the Fender amp, but EVH 5150. So it's not tube, it is more expensive than the tube version, and it does the same sort of thing that you can get from a Tone Master and a Fender FR cabinet, or any FR cabinet, or any FR cabinet, and some modeled 5150 thing. I love the Master stuff. I think it's very usable. I use them on stage, the deluxe reverb. I don't think that this is a good idea, mainly because of how expensive it is. I'd rather get the tube version. And I know that that's not always a good idea to use tubes, but this one just seemed like what is the point of that thing? If they drop the price to $900, go for it. At this current price of, I think, $1,600, silly. The winner is, that's the EVH. I think they're using Eddie Van Halen's name there to sell something that doesn't need to be made. And I think it's very close to blasphemy. Blast for you, blast for everybody. Okay, we're going to go on to an uncomfortable award. It's Fail of the Year. Now, last year, the Fail of the Year went to Boss for the Katana Go. Not because it was a bad product, but because they released it and then they couldn't make them anymore. And I don't think that was really their fault. Something happened with supply chains. The world is what the world is, but Boss took the brunt of that. Then they re-released it with a new version that was made with different parts, but is apparently the same somehow. And it's still available and still great. This year, the nominees are, for the Fail Award, Boss for the PX1 plug-out effects. And that's it. The winner is Boss for the PX1 plug-out effects. But let's talk why. It is a kind of multi-effects, but one stump, like the Helix 1. It's a single-size Boss pedal that you can have one of their effects on at any time, but inside you can store, I think, 8, but there are 16 effects available. And then you have to buy the extra effects, and it caused a huge controversy, and many videos and many articles were released on this is pay-to-play, and this is paywalling effects, and do you really own your effects, and all those sort of conversations. I just think Boss missed it with this product. I think they've got multi-effects that exist already, like the ME series, that they could have just released a board with them on, or rather, it's more a case of Boss upsetting possibly the minority of the guitar world, but the very loud minority of the guitar world. And that's not what Boss is for me. Boss is the everyman's company. Boss is the company that makes pedals and products that everybody loves to plug into. And because of the friction with this product, I think Boss have sort of burned themselves a little bit. I mean, it hurts me to say that. So I hope Boss come back in 2026 with something new and we can all either forget or forgive about the PX1. But congratulations, Boss, on winning the fail of the year 2 years in a row. And it does not make me happy to say that. The next one is purely for me, so skip it if you want. It is Andy's Guilty Pleasure Award. This is stuff that I like, but apparently shouldn't like. Here are the nominees. The Gibson Les Paul Music City Special, the Ibanez 540p3, the Gibson Les Paul Custom 70S, the Gretsch Abbey Road RS201 Studiomatic, and the Gibson and Epiphone Bats in Flight. Now, the Gibson Les Paul Music City Special seems like someone let the intern draw a Les Paul and they released it without really thinking about it. But it's quirky, it's weird. A lot of Gibson lovers hate it, and that's why I love it. I think it's brilliant. If it had a thick neck on it, I'd be buying one. It's that simple. Ibanez 540p3, in yellow particularly, I think this guitar is so weird and so odd and a great reissue that I want to play one and have a Weezer covers band with it. I don't want to use it for what it's been designed for with shred and all that. I just want to play indie rock and alternative rock on it. The Gibson Les Paul Custom 70s, I think I said 70S, I meant 70s, idiot. There is one Gibson Les Paul that is my bucket list Les Paul, and it is a 70s style Gibson Les Paul Custom, but in the cherry burst with the black plastics. This is just the most beautiful Les Paul to me in the world, and they did not include it in this 70s series. However, for everything we say about the 70s Les Paul, I think they are the prettiest Gibson Les Paul Customs. They're not that expensive, actually. I mean, they're not cheap, but they're not as wildly as expensive as I thought they would be. It's just an addition to a Les Paul, one of the thousands you can buy. The Gretsch Abbey Road RS201 Studiomatic is a collaboration between Gretsch and Abbey Road. And I shouldn't like this because that seems like a ridiculous idea. And the rumble switch they've got on it, which cuts out low frequencies and things, seems like a gimmick. Probably isn't. I like those sorts of things, and Reverend do a great one with their guitars. It's just everything I like about Gretsch and everything I like about Abbey Road and the history in a guitar. I think about 1,200 notes, and if it wasn't Abbey Road, it would probably be a lot cheaper. It's my guilty pleasure. I enjoy it. It's pretty. I want to play one. The Gibson and Epiphone Bats in Flight. This is something I shouldn't like because it's aimed at people who stereotypically do not look and dress like me and do not listen to music that I like. However, a Les Paul made by Epiphone with bats on the fretboard, come on. It's really fun. And I played the Black Widow from, this is a Guitar Center exclusive, I should say. I played the Black Widow, which is the Guitar Center exclusive, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Gibson Epiphone Les Paul Customs. They were phenomenal, or the one I had, phenomenal Les Paul Custom, great fun, and very well made. This Epiphone with bats is better, because it's got bats. The Gibson ones, I don't really care about the Gibson Les Pauls in this series, because it's still got the fun bats, but it's really expensive, so it doesn't appeal to me. That negates the idea of owning one. However, the Flying V, oh my goodness. I love Flying Vs. I even did that then. The Flying Vs are some of my favorite guitars ever because I'm a big, tall guy. I like to stand up when I'm playing, and I like to be seen. That guitar blows my mind. It's like a purpley color with bats, and it's just, for me, an ultimate, the reason guitar players love guitars. It's fun, it's way out there, it's right in your face, and yeah, it's a guitarist's guitar. And I wish they did an Epiphone version with a fat neck, because then I would be selling one of my children to buy one. Or just parts of my children, because it's probably, I shouldn't say that. I thought it was funny. It isn't. I love my kids. I'll find another way to fund an Epiphone Bats in Flight Flying V. Don't call the authorities. Thank you. The winner is the Gibson and Epiphone Bats in Flight. It's just the most fun on there. It's my guilty pleasure because I shouldn't like a guitar with bats on it, but boy, do I want to have one. Please make a V. I won't tell my kids, I promise. All right, let's get expensive. The no price limit best pedal of 2025. And this list was as long as 10 of my arms. The nominees are the Crazy Tube Circuits Venus, the Tone King Imperial Tri-Tube Preamp Pedal, the Chase Bliss Brothers AM, the Hot Tone or Hotone Verbera Convolution Reverb, and the NUX Dual Loop Stereo. Now, two of these brands don't seem to be that expensive, but they are relatively expensive. Let's talk about the Crazy Tube Circuit's Venus. Now, I didn't know whether to have the Orama, which is their latest one, or the Venus on this list, and I figured but I might have a bit of recency bias from the Orama, and I can see it from here, and just looking at it makes me want to plug into it and play it. But that's enough about the pedal I'm not talking about. We're talking about the Venus, which is based on the tube driver, the Butler tube driver. It just does what it tries to do so well in such a convenient package. You don't need to plug it into the mains. It isn't wimpy and weak like the Behringer version that people have tried to explain is just get the Behringer. That sounds so weepy and wimpy? Weepy. Yeah, it sounds weepy. And I compared that in my review, and I just wanted to box the Behringer straight up and take it away. The Venus has a tube in it. It is a drive that I want to say sounds like no other, apart from the drive it's based on. And it's a very highly sought after tone that you can now get in a functional one pedal format. Great pedal, great sound, great company. I love almost everything they do. I like the other things. Tone King Imperial, a tri-tube preamp pedal. I love the Imperial from Tone King. It is an amp that I want to have at some point. I have enough amps. I think the Imperial preamp pedal has got to be, if you have an effects loop on an amp and you want something sparkly and clean, it's not going to be cheap, but this is one of the best ways to go. I will have one at some point. It could be a great pedal platform thing. Oh, goodness. The Chase Bliss Brothers AM. It's an Analog Man collaboration with Chase Bliss switches, which are nuts. When I reviewed it, it's one of those guitar pedals that you can just instantly plug into and feel that your guitar sounds better and hear that your guitar sounds better. And that's even without fiddling with anything too much. And then you can start fiddling and sound even better. However, I lent this pedal to my friend and I missed it instantly. And I hated him, and a little part of me hated him. Steve, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry. But I hated you, Steve, because you had my pedal. I said you could have it. I said you could have as long as you wanted. But I hated you a little bit for having it, for just doing the thing that I asked you to do, is taking it, and I wanted you to experience it as well. And you, non-Steve, you should experience it. They are quite hard to get, but not as hard as the Analog Man King of Tones. I have played the original King of Tone now, and this one, it's close enough for me. There are other pedals that are also close enough to the King of Tone for me, but this one somehow has extra. It feels like it comes with energy inside it, or love, or something, or the X factor that you can't quite explain, or I can't quite explain, and it does such a good job of being what it tries to be. The Hot Tone Convolution Reverb sounds like it should be in the budget category because Hot Tone or Hotone are normally responsible for making affordable products. But this one isn't. And this is budget for what it does. So I think it's about 300 notes. I'm trying to remember all this stuff from the whole year, so forgive me if I'm wrong there. And let me know in the comments as always, I'm sure you will. If you don't know what a convolution reverb is, it's like an IR, well, it is an IR. It's a snapshot of a space, of the sound in that space, and then you can load your guitar into it or any other thing into it. Plug any other thing into it. You can normally do this on your computer or your iPad or whatever you have, but having it in a pedal format that also looks really, really pretty and has a Tron sort of theme to it. The quality is on point. The sounds are on point. I love a great reverb and I hate a bad reverb. A bad reverb will kill any signal chain for me, and this one is pretty darn good. I'm excited. I tried it at Guitar Summit. I'm pretty hot on it. The NUX Dual Loop Stereo, I have that here. Again, NUX is a usually more affordable company. If somebody else made this, it would be probably 3 times the price. It looks like that. It is one of the ultimate loopers, and my review should be out by now. If it isn't, it will be out very soon. It's got a bunch of knobs. It's kind of the opposite of the Ditto 2 that we talked about earlier, in the sense that there's lots of tweakability on this. The fact that it's bright yellow might also appeal to me, which it shouldn't. For the money, you're getting a great pedal. This isn't a what is the price point. That was a great slide. I wish you'd seen that. This isn't a what is the price of this and is that a good deal category. It is price irrelevant, no price limit, best pedal. That is a cracker. I'm actually amazed it made it to the list. That's how good it is. It beat other really expensive pedals. Okay, the winner of this is simply the Chase Bliss Brothers AM. The Venus comes a very strong, close second, but I have to choose the Brothers AM because I was so shocked at how great it was, and my expectations are quite, not low, but I was like, okay, another Analog Man tie-in, another King of Tone clone. It just blew me out of the water. It blew me out of the water. It blew other pedals out of the water. It blew me away, and I had a blast with it, and I had to give it to my friend, as I said. It's expensive, and it is justifiably expensive because of all the features it has. If you took away most of those features and still had that tone, that would be a great idea. But as it is the winner. Congratulations, Chase Bliss. Let's keep it pricey. The no price limit amplifier of the year. And the nominees are the Rev D25 Joey Landreth edition, the Ditzelia Single 25, the Victory Amps, the Deputy Lunchbox Head, the Supro Airwave, the PRS Tempest GS50 and GS100 tube heads. Now, I have a Rev D25 just there. It is one of my favorite go-to amps because I love a Fender clean sound. And this is one of those Fender clean sounds plus more, but it dirties really nicely. Plus, it's got the torpedo in the back, so you can plug an XLR into it and record or go to PA very, very simply and load Dyne IRs into it. And all sorts of things on there that modern amps now should have. The Joey Landreth edition is that, just classier and tweaked to his likings. And when he showed it me at Guitar Summit, well, he was playing it, so that did something, but it did a lot of things. But I think if that might be a bit vanilla for some people, this is like that covered in chocolate. The Ditzelia Single 25. Now, you may not have heard of this. I have one. It's made in Austria by a Frenchman called Arnaud, who's a very nice guy. And Paul Davids made a video that stopped me from making a video. Arnaud traveled to me on the tube, the train, and hand-delivered it to me, or to the train station, and asked me to make a review. I plugged it in, got blown away instantly, and I'm going to get it because I'm looking at it. Here it is. And, well, here it is. It is another Fender-style amp, but it has one tube in it, and it is this tube in the back. You can kind of see it. There's that in focus, just there. And because it's got one tube, that's why it's called the Single. It also has a beautiful reverb on it. It's got these knobs that are, everything about it is top quality, high quality, beautiful, like those, what's the word? Hi-fi systems that are unbelievably expensive, but like every time you just touch the interface, you think, this is expensive and this is quality. That is in this amp. And Paul Davids released his video, and Arnaud at the amp company asked me to wait to release mine. But in my review video, I just decided that I was going to buy one. So in that time, he made one for me. I bought it at Guitar Summit, and we'll have a video coming very soon on why I bought it. It's a phenomenal, yet heavy, tiny little amp. What was the next amp on this list? The Victory Amps, the Deputy Lunchbox Head. This is probably the most budgets on the list, and I mean that in not a derogatory way. I mean that you're getting a great amp. Victory do amazing stuff. Martin is making phenomenal sounds at prices that most people can either afford or stretch to. So the Deputy Lunchbox Head makes it even more appealing. The Supro Airwave is very similar to the D25, except it's Supro. So you've got the 2 notes torpedo in the back, so you can plug stuff in. It's got a great clean. It has reverb and trem, and it's got a great crunch as well. I was shown it at NAMM this year. I wasn't allowed to play it. It wasn't ready. I now have one here. It's ready to be reviewed, and I've played it, and it's going to be one of those amps, you know, one of those staples if you don't want to buy a Fender, or you like a crunchy Fender and you want a torpedo 2 notes out. That's a speed review. Lastly, but not leastly, the PRS Tempest GS50 and GS100 tube heads. This kind of is the quintessential mainstream, what could we build if we didn't care that people couldn't afford it amp. These are like $4,000 each, yet if you want, or I want, a Fender and a Marshall sound one amp together, this is it. I don't know if it sounds like that good. Like, I fell in love with this amp. I don't know if it sounds that good, but the concept alone is done before, has been done before. But PRS and sticking with that price tag on it, surely it's good, right? Surely Paul wouldn't release a duffer. Anyway, it's hella expensive. I hope it's worth it. The winner of the No Price Limit Amp of the Year, well, it's the one that I bought. The Ditzelia Single 25 is going to be out of the price range most people. It is going to be prohibitively expensive, but if you can stretch to it, it's going to reward you, unless you like high gain. It's got love in it. Everybody that plugs into it, Buddy Blues, Ivantic, Matt, they say they either bought one or wanted to buy one. That's how good it is. People I respect also fell in love with it. Paul Davids fell in love with it. Yeah. I can't wait to review it, and I can't wait to stop using it as one of my favorite amps and just show you guys. In fact, I'm going to put it away. Stop staring at it. Okay, No Price Limit Guitar of the Year 2025. The nominees are the Gordon Smith GS1 Legacy Special Edition, the Fender American Ultra Luxe Vintage Strat, the Gibson Les Paul Junior and Special Double Cut, the PRS S2 Mira or Myra 594, the Fender American Pro Classic Jaguar, and the Ibanez AZ2204 NW-VR Prestige. There are more expensive guitars available. These are more the mainstream stuff, the things that I've either played or have very, very deep experience with the builders, so I know the kind of quality, or they just appeal to a broad group of people that watch the episode of The Week in Gear. The Gordon Smith GS1 Legacy Special Edition was limited, and I looked on the website, there's only one left, and it's the black one. But this is most of the things I like about a Gibson Les Paul Junior with a little bit of a twist. And I have an emotional connection with Gordon Smith because, how do I explain this one? The dad of one of my friends, when I was younger, my friend's dad had a Gordon Smith, and I loved it. I coveted it. And this one gives me that same feeling. And I've played some Gordon Smiths when I was in London recently, and they were all good to great. If they improve their marketing a little bit, they will be on or in more hands. I hope they do that in 2026. On to the big F, Fender American Ultra Luxe Vintage Strat. This takes a vintage spec Strat, but replaces the stuff that is problematic with modern appointments. So the problem with vintage Strats and vintage guitars generally is that we've advanced in terms of machining and engineering, and yet those vintage Strats haven't. So things are problems. Now, what Fender did is take the Ultra Luxe series and make it more vintage. So sort of smashed them together and came out with this. And what I like about it is that it does a great job of doing that. It doesn't feel wrong. And as a Strat, it is one of the best I've ever played. It's a stage Strat that looks vintage. So I've got an amazing hot rodded Strat, an AVRI 2 that is a little unreliable on stage, and you've got to sort of baby around a little bit and treat it like a Strat. The new ones, the vintage, what are they called? Ultra Luxe Vintage, you can treat it like you can treat an Ibanez. There we go. That's how it is. It's like if Fender made an Ibanez. The Gibson Les Paul Junior and Special Double Cut. Again, they released them in the 90s and I wanted one, so this is a bit emotional for me. No, I like these because I love SGs, but they're too pointy for some people, and I think the Les Paul, even though I love them, they don't sit right for me, and on stage they don't feel right. I think it's a great model that needs to be... Gibson don't have it in their lineup constantly. They sort of take it out and put it back in again, and I think this is a good year for doing that. I haven't done a very good job of explaining the Les Paul. I'm not sure it should be on this list anymore. I hope that it's come across that I really do enjoy the potential of this guitar. All right, the PRS S2 Myra or Mira 594 is a guitar, not a shower. I love the 594 PRSs. I played one a long, long time ago. Fell in love with it. It was a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be. Couldn't buy it, of course, because I was one of those foolish guitar players that picked up an expensive PRS and then my life was ruined. The S2 stuff, I think it's the sweet spot for most players. The PRS SE stuff, that's actually probably the sweet spot. The PRS S2 is a reasonable price to aspire to. The quality is far better than the SE. It is a real PRS, and this particular one spoke to me, and it does all the things that I need from a PRS. The Fender American Pro Classic Jaguar. That's a guitar. It's the one that Ryan and I both got, and so did a bunch of other people, and we're sure that we were the only ones that got it. It got me back into Jaguars. I haven't been into Jaguars for a long time. The Fender, what they call it, American Pro Classics, are maybe a little bit more expensive than people want to pay, but a great range of Fenders. And I think I said about the Vintera 2 earlier that that's the sweet spot for Fenders. It might also be this American Pro Classic. I just get lost with how many ranges Fender have. The Jaguar, beautiful guitar, sounds great. If you like Strats but are a bit bored of Strats, this is the guitar you should get. There are other Pro Classic, American Pro Classic Fenders as well. I like that one. The Ibanez AZ2204NW-VR. It's an AZ, it's red, it's going to be one of the most reliable bomb-proof guitars you could ever play. These are the guitars that Fender wish they could make. And they've almost got there with the, what do they call that? The vintage, American Ultralux Vintage. The AZ is just the guitar that if you have a covers band, you should be having one of these, without a doubt. It might not be for the people who are true tone nerds and tone fanciers and cork sniffers, but this one's bright red. I played it at Ibanez December last year. Had a blast with it. If I didn't already own the same or similar model in a blue, I would have tried to go for that one at some point. I love AZs. The winner of this is the Fender American Pro Classic Jaguar. Now, even though I didn't talk about it very much, and I've talked a lot about the other models, it's because I knew I was going to talk about it now. It is a guitar that, when I plugged it in, I felt new to guitar again in a good way. I felt like I'd gone back to day one, but with some level of skill. And it excited me. I think the price is a little bit higher than it needs to be, but if you buy it, you won't regret spending that extra money because it will make you happy. Build quality is great, color choice is great, the whole series is exciting, and somehow Fender keeps selling us the same guitars by renaming them and changing small things about them. Congratulations, Fender. In 2025, I have reviewed more acoustic guitars than ever before. And acoustic guitars really seem to be coming back to the forefront of the guitar industry. So with that in mind, we've got the best acoustic guitar of 2025. The nominees are the Gibson J45 Special, the Baum Leaper Melody, the Harley Benton HB-J45E, the Martin SC10E Spruce. Let's do Gibson J45 Special first. Gibson made a range of more affordable but not affordable acoustic guitars. It is harder to make an affordable acoustic guitar than it is an electric. You notice the difference in a well-made acoustic quicker than you'll notice it in an electric if you're listening. The Special J45, firstly the J45 because that's my favorite shape of Gibson. I like the sound of that the most. The Special still looks like a Gibson, still has a lot of the Gibson-ness about it. It's kind of like the Les Paul Studio of the acoustic world. And I really believe that Gibson think it's affordable. The Baum Leaper Melody. Oh my goodness. When I saw the picture of this guitar, it appealed to me instantly. The gold top just looked absolutely divine. I love playing acoustic. I don't love playing all acoustics. I love playing this acoustic. Imagine if Baum had the history and the greed of Gibson. They would have charged twice, maybe 3 times the price for this guitar. It is not even the top of the range of their series of acoustic guitars, but I felt that this more affordable version just was built phenomenally. The woods they've used are absolutely exquisite but simple. It's quality done simply with a beautiful Danish design, and I fell in love with it. And it's one of the guitars that I reviewed and had to give back, and it's one of those guitars that got a. I wish I could show it to you right now. If you're after a great acoustic guitar and you don't care what name is on the headstock, and you have almost 2,000 euros to spend, or 2,000, I think it's 2,000. It's close to 1,500, but let's say you have 2,000 euros. Don't get the Gibson, get this one, and you'll be a happier person, I think. It's assuming this sound and this size is what you want, because there's so much I've left out there. But you're getting better value from this company, from Baum Guitars. That's what I'm trying to say. Speaking of value, Harley Benton HBJ 45E. What's that doing in the list? Well, it's about 200 euros, and it is a great budget guitar. It plays like a guitar that's twice the price, and it sounds like a budget guitar, but sounds like a budget guitar that is 400 euros, not 200. It's black. It's not the right J45 scale length. It's a longer scale length. So it does its own thing. If you want a cheap acoustic that is a bit different and not another sprucey kind of top, this should be on your list. The only thing that might turn some people off is the quite reddish fretboard. The one I got was not too red, and it's here somewhere. And even though I have more expensive acoustic guitars, I play that Harley Benton quite often because it's really fun. And then we have the Martin SC10E Spruce. This is a sort of deviation from the norm for Martin. It's still relatively affordable in the sense that it's not 4,000 euros, it's closer to 1. Martin have tried something new, they tried a new shape, and they've listened to players' needs, and they've done a whole different thing with it. I played it, I'm going to play it again at NAMM. I really love this guitar. I hope to get one on the channel at some point to show you, because I think it's one of those things that's going to be hard for Martin to get across, because they can't lean into their history and their heritage too much, because it's a new-ish thing. So they have to lean into the fact that it's just a great guitar, which I think it is. The winner! I know what the winner is. I don't know why I did that. It was for dramatic effect. The winner is the Baum Lipa Melody. Out of any of the acoustic guitars that I've played this year, that is the one that I would save in a fire and want most out of anything that I've played. I don't know if I'd put it above my Taylor that is in my living room and is played constantly for my own enjoyment. However, if I had the Lipa Melody, I'd feel special at owning something great, and I've spent my money in the right place. There we go. Right, get the Baum Lipa Melody. You'll be very happy. They don't just come in gold, by the way. They come in other colors that are more traditional. Best multi-effects / modeler of 2025. Nominees are the Kemper Profiler Mark II, the Valtone GP5, the Line 6 Helix Stadium, the Fractal AM4 Amp Modeler, and the Amp Modeler, and the Valtone GP50. Now, the Kemper Profiler Mark II, haven't played it. I've spent very little time with the Mark I. However, and it went under the radar, kind of. Like, it didn't change the world. But I think that's because the original did. The original Kemper Profile made a huge difference to the guitar world, and we wouldn't be the same without it. The 2 is more of the same. So two is never as exciting as number 1 if number 1 is a huge success, even if number 2 is equally good in its own right. Back to the Future 2, for example. The Kemper Profiler 2 has more potential that Kemper have not reached yet, so there's more to come from them and that unit. The Valtone GP5, on the other hand, wow, it smashed into the market at the price of a fairly decent tuner and gives you everything you need from a simple setup. It's a multi-effects that has great sounds in it. You can load your own sounds into it. You plug headphones into it. It powered also by USB-C if you want to, if I remember rightly. I used it at Guitar Summit. That's how good it is. My recording rig with the Creation Station, I could have taken anything I wanted. I chose that because it gave me the best simple setup versus having to carry stuff, even though I didn't have to carry it. That's how good I think it is. The Line 6 Helix Stadium, however, I tried that at Guitar Summit. It's still not out quite, and they're still ironing out kinks. There's so much in it that a lot of people won't need, but when I plugged into it, it felt like I was, well, I did the test that I always do with amp modelers, and that is to play a simple A or A5 chord in a rock tone and to see what happens to the notes at the end. So it should have a really nice attack and bright and kick me in the face, but it's what happens at the end. Does the noise gate cut it off? Does it just turn into digital hiss? Or does it just die nicely and still get harmonic like an amp? And yes, it did. There were other sounds in it as well that I really enjoyed, but I'll never forget that moment of playing it. It's not the winner because it's not really out yet. And I don't think Line 6 have really made enough available to the public, and certainly not to reviewers. Yeah, so the Line 6 Stadium could be the next big thing. I don't think people have the money at the moment to fully support that potential. The same is for the Fractal AM4. Great sounds, Fractal stuff. They don't market it very well. They're trying to do better. The whole Fractal scene is very, very nerdy and sort of the Cork Sniffers Line 6 Helix, and not in a bad way at all. It's just that I think there should be more of them made and more on the market for people to try, like in shops and things like that. If Fractal can nail that, they will get their name up there where it belongs. Finally, the Valtone GP50 has what the GP5 has, but with an internal battery and more screen real estate and another switch. Basically, it's not much more expensive than the GP5. It's just over 100 notes and gives you so much more. And that is why, even though I haven't played it, it is the winner. This just snuck in at the end of 2025, so there is a bit of recency bias, but I would have gone for the GP5 otherwise. It's the obvious choice. It's going to make more sounds available to more people than they might realize they want to upgrade to an AM4 or a Helix. Very few people should go directly for a Helix because it's so complicated. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of thought gone into those units. The Valtone stuff keeps it fairly simple. Congratulations, Valtone. The best innovation / tech, the last award of the 2025 Year in Gear. The nominees are KMA audio machines for the Geminus, the Fender Studio DAW, and the Lava Studio amplifier. The Geminus is a stereo double tracker. So what I mean by double tracking is recording a guitar once and then recording the same part twice. And because you're human, it will be, it won't be exactly the same. There will be slight discrepancies, making it sound bigger and thicker, and it's a great way of recording. However, you can't really get that effect live convincingly. You can use a delay and have a stereo delay even. The difference with the Geminus, and the reason I love it, and I might get in trouble for this, it's got AI in it. What it does is it changes your signal. So you've got your signal that you played, that's left alone, but it takes it, copies it, and alters it ever so slightly so it sounds like there's another take that's very slightly different live. So it does things a delay can't. And if most people don't play stereo, you can still use it mono. If you do play stereo, this is a must-have, and it's one of the most fun pedals of the year. It definitely deserved to be in the category, not the pedal category, because I needed to explain it more. The Fender Studio DAW has opened up recording for people because it is free. If you have a phone or something like that, some device, you can get Fender Studio. If you register, you get more stuff. I'm sure at some point Fender will offer downloads that you have to buy, but as it is, it's a DAW that has good to great sounds in it, that there is now no reason you shouldn't be recording music if you write it and want to. It's not an innovation as such, the tech, but an innovation in opening up the world to being able to record music. There are other free DAWs like Reaper. I'm a big fan of Logic, which once you pay for, that's it. Cubasis is a great mobile DAW and very powerful. But the way I use DAWs, I'm not sure if I would need all the power of Cubasis, which is why I love the Fender one. If you don't have the Fender Studio, you should just simply download it. It's that simple. And finally, the Lava Studio, an amp which upset a lot of people because, do you need it? What's this? I've just got an iPad. I can plug that into my amp. This is as if Apple made an amplifier, something that can sit or stand in your living room You can also watch YouTube on it. You can watch me on it if you want. And then you can select all the tones and things, and it's got multi-effects in it and a fairly decent speaker. I played at the Guitar Summit. I have one here for review. It arrived a little bit later than other reviewers, so I didn't want to get lost in the wave of lateness, so I will release my review in good time. It's a step forward in the fact that Lava are moving forward into convenience products and bringing guitar to the living room. Anything that takes you out of having to have a studio like this, or having an ugly amp in the corner that your family members don't like and causes arguments, that's bad. This could also serve as a family media center as well. It is a little pricey. I'll let you know whether I think it's worth it in the review video. Okay, the winner of the Tech Innovation Award is the Fender Studio DAW, and only just, and because it's free. I think the innovation there is that Fender realizing that they can sell guitars if they sell the use of guitars, sell the result, which is making music. So if you have to buy a guitar and then buy a recording device, that's more money. Most people have phones these days. You download the app, you can start recording yourself, or just use the DAW as a multi-effects with headphones and you're away. That's all you need. So buy a Squier from Fender and you don't need to buy anything else. Well done, Fender. Whew, my energy levels are getting lower because this is a long video. Woo! I've had a blast though. It's been really fun remembering and talking about the stuff that I've really enjoyed this year. I've covered all the sections I wanted to cover. So now we go to the most coveted of all the awards, the best product this year, the Golden Geek. The winner of the Golden Geek Award this year is the Ibanez AZ Standard. It is the most rock-solid guitar you can get for relatively little money. It beats the next one up in its range. I've spoken about it a lot in this video. I was very, very positive because I knew it was the winner. If you want a great mid-range guitar, this is all you need. If you want a phenomenal first guitar, this is exactly what you need. If you're on stage and you're gigging and you don't want to spend much money on something you take out, this is the guitar you need. HSS, done. It's that simple. They are so good, and yeah, there's a reason that almost everybody should have one. If you have a huge guitar collection, maybe you don't need one. If you already have the Ibanez AZ, one of the higher models like me, you don't need one. But this one, it's like what Squier did with Classic Vibe all those years ago, but better, because this is a rock-solid instrument and doesn't need so much attention and mollycoddling. Yeah, well done, Ibanez, but more well done, Guitar Worlds, because we've got something that is going to change how other brands make guitars, because now they have to compete with the Ibanez AZ Standard. Or they might just try and hide behind history and legacy. If they don't do that, if everybody stops letting them do that, they're going to have to up their game. Ibanez are already there. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a great end of 2025. I am so looking forward to 2026. I'm going to take a little bit of time off to recuperate and get ready for NAMM, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!